Q&As. And then we will also having a pre-quiz. So after I explain it to you, we'll be having a pre-quiz. And then we are going to the main event, which is the presentation from Madam Sharina Saad. And then after the presentation from Madam Sharina Saad, we will also have another quiz, but before that, we'll be having a Q&A sessions. So, and then after that, we'll be having another pre-quiz. So, selamat pagi semuanya. We would like also to terima kasih sudah for making the time, Madam Sharina Saad, although it is a public holiday there in Malaysia. And then, yeah, hopefully we can enjoy today's events. All right, without further ado, let me introduce you to what is extensive reading is. Okay, so basically this is courses that the student here in Diploma 3 in English in Unmer Malang on the 6th semesters with 3 credits. I would like to give an overview of these courses. Okay. So it might be a bit different for what they got before from the 1st up to the 5th semesters. Here in extensive reading, the materials is a bit different. Okay. The first one is in extensive reading, the student must read aloud. Okay, student read a large volume of materials, perhaps about 10 times or 100 times more words than they encounter in their intensive reading. And then also about the materials should be enjoyable so that student will want to read more. Okay, and then in here, the student chooses what to read in order to ensure that about the large reading material and also enjoyable. They choose of what they're going to read with a variety of materials. It should be available so that the student can choose the reading that interests them. And also the material needs to be easy to read, or else so that students are not bogged down decoding the language. And then it must be, they can read quickly because they didn't focus on the grammatical things with a reasonable level of comprehension without the help of their dictionary. Okay. So in here, we can assume that there is a balanced reading between an extensive reading and also intensive reading that they've got. This is not intended to substitute the intensive reading, but the aim is to reach a balanced reading between the two. So the intensive reading is traditionally done in class, mainly in class, but in extensive reading, it is because we don't have a sufficient time for students to read a large volume materials independently during the class. So this mostly done by the student outside the class. Okay, this is should be required ideally to read outside of the class in extensive reading. Right, so I'll give some insight of what is the difference between an intensive reading versus extensive reading. The class goal is different things. In here, in intensive reading, the goal is to read accurately. But in extensive reading, a fluent reading is the main goal. Right, so next about the reading purpose. In here, the purpose of intensive reading is to answer the question and also to study about the reading passage. So mainly we are dealing with the comprehension, but in extensive reading, wait a minute. But in extensive reading, the meaning of the reading passage is becomes our focus. Right. About the materials, the teacher are the one who choose the materials or the reading passage. But in here, in extensive reading, the student are the one who choose the reading materials. So maybe they will choose what is the reading passage that will be easier for them to be read. Okay, so they are the one who choose the suitable reading passage. Right? About the amount, it is not much because it is mainly done in class with a limited time. But in extensive reading, we must read aloud. Okay, about the speed, it must be in a slower pace. But in extensive reading, because it is, we choose our, our suitable reading material, so it must be done faster than in intensive reading, because in intensive reading, we are have to deal with the comprehension, with the words, with grammatical things. But in extensive reading, because we are enjoy reading that, so we become faster to read that reading passage. Okay, and then about the method, it must finish use dictionary. So we have to go back and forth using our dictionary. But in extensive reading, it is suggested if they have to stop if you don't like it because we don't use any dictionary. In here, the inferencing or guessing the meaning by its context is mainly used. Because this is, we are assumed that we are already, fluent reader in extensive reading. So this is the differences between an intensive reading and also in extensive reading, right? Okay, so we are going to, this is the examples of the ER activity or extensive reading activity that we applied in our courses. So the student of ER or extensive reading here is for the 6th semester with 3 credits. The course description is as follows. This course provides the student with opportunities to choose and read a non-fiction such as popular articles and fiction such as short story and novels. So there are the 3 main topics in extensive reading here applied in our courses. The first one is the popular article. The second one is a short story, and then the last one is novel. In novels, we have 2 topics. The first one is non-simplified or abridged novel, and then the second one is non-simplified or unabridged novel that they have to read. So in here, hopefully, it can develop a good reading habits. This is the main goal of extensive reading, building up knowledge of vocabulary and structures, and also promoting a liking of reading. So the activities should follows like this. They have to write a brief summary of 100 to 250 words, and also they have to write student comments. And the second one, they have to do some oral report of the book or the article they've already read. As for the setting is offline class, they have to present in front of the class, but because this is the synchronous learning, so they have to send them their presentation through a video about what they just read. Okay, so in here, what I'm going to highlight is, although the skill is reading, but we can also integrate our skills, these reading skills, I mean, into the another skills, which will be our main topic of the day, the oral fluency. We know that the students are the one who choose their reading materials. Hopefully that they are be motivated in order to explain of what they've just read. Yeah, so hopefully they are mastering their topics of reading, and they also have opportunity to fostering their oral fluency. That the way how we improve that, it will be presented by Ma'am Sharina Saad after this. Okay, so without further ado, let me ask you to join some quiz that will be, what is it? That will be, you guys, can you see the link on the chat box that already shared by Pak Prilla? Please go through that link, and Pak Prilla will get you to some quick quiz before we having materials by Ma'am Sharina Saad. Okay, Pak Prilla.
Yeah, thank you, Purara.
Okay.
Good morning, people of Earth. How are you? Yeah, first, I'd like to welcome Madam Sharina Saad. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. It's been an honor to finally meet you virtually. And welcome also to our beloved students. Well, as Purara said that I will be the quizman today. Are you ready? Well, I hope that everyone is ready. So first thing first, what you need to do is to click the link that I have set in the chat box. Yeah? And please allow me to share my screen. Well, this quiz is easy. It's going to be fun. It only consists of 10 items. Well, we can see together here that there have been 25 students entering the quiz. So first thing first, please write down your name, not your alias or not your stage name. And we will wait until everyone has entered the quiz. Madam Sharina Saad, you can join too if you want.
Okay.
Right, it's gonna be fun. Everyone can join the quiz. Okay, welcome Angeline Siraid, Emmanuel, Jayanti, Sinta, 42, now 43. Wow, it's rising up. Nadia, Monica, Firsty, 44. Come on, 45. Jan Amalo. Well, the quiz will be begun in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. Come on. Okay. Yeah, the quiz is on. Yeah. 5. Oh my God. Wait. Connection problem. Okay, we can see together. Oh my, yeah, this one, the disruption again. Agnes Gabriela Tanabara is the first. Come on, keep racing for the quiz. Yeah, rank 1, Miftahul Huda. Come on, come on. Monica Ayu. Okay, come on. Still Monica Ayu. And the runner-up is Bagas momentarily. Come on, come on, come on. Well, we are so sorry. Well, maybe it's because of the signal problem. So the quiz doesn't run very smoothly.
So who's leading the quiz right now, Pak Prilla?
Yes?
So who's
Well,
leading?
wait. Well, now it is Miftahul Huda who is leading the quiz, and then followed by Khairul Anam and followed by Dewa Bagus.
Okay.
Well, it's still time. Well, maybe one questions left to be answered.
And we've got the winner.
Yeah, and we've got the winner, yeah. Yeah. All right. I think we've got the winner. So yeah, Miftahul Huda is still leading, followed by Khairul Anam, followed by Dewa Bagus, and number 4 is Oka Randika, and number 5 is Bagas Martinus. All right, I think it's enough for the first quiz. So congratulations to Miftahul Huda, Khairul Anam, Dewa Bagus, Oka Randika, and Bagas Martinus Riano.
Okay, maybe we will be having another quizzes after the presentation from Madam Sharina Saad, right, Pak Prilla?
Yeah, there will be the second quiz, don't worry. The fun does not end here, yeah?
Okay.
All right, this is the champion, Miftahul Huda. Yeah, thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
Bu Karlina. So time is yours.
Okay. So thank you for the interesting quiz. We'll be having another quizzes after the presentation from Madam Sharina Saad. Now we would like to welcome Madam Sharina Saad to present the main topic for today. Okay, Madam Sharina Saad, time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Hello everybody. How are you? I would like to hear a student's voices. Please unmute yourself and tell me whether you are fine or you are not fine today. So I'm asking you a question here. How is everybody?
Great. Why dandy, miss?
Louder, please. How is everybody?
It's great, miss.
Okay, good. So I hope everybody is good and you are in the pink of health. Okay, and I think it is a very good way to start the day with a presentation from Ibu Karlina. Ibu Karlina has given a briefing about extensive reading and a fun game by Pak Prilla. So now I'm going to start with my presentation. I'm going to take over from Ibu Karlina. Ibu Karlina has explained to you about extensive reading, and she has also talked about the material selection. And then now it is my turn to proceed. How are you going to deal with your extensive reading material, and you are going to talk about it. Okay, so that is my part, I guess. All right, so I'm going to share my presentation now. I'm going to share my screen. I hope it works. Okay, Ibu Karlina and Pak Prilla, please tell me whether it is visible
Yes,
from your
it
side.
is visible, ma'am.
I'm sharing my screen.
Loud and clear.
All right,
Yes.
very good.
But did you click audio sharing before you share your file?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have some YouTube videos to share with you. Okay, so I will start with a little bit of self-introduction. So I am Sharina Saad. I am a senior lecturer teaching at UiTM Kedah. So my university is a good and vibrant university. It is situated in the northern area of Malaysia in the state of Kedah. Okay, and I am attached to Academy of Language Studies. We have around 40 over lecturers here, and I've been teaching at Academy of Language Studies for more than 15 years already. And these are our students. Actually, at our department, we don't have our own students. We do servicing, we teach students from other faculties. We service other faculties. So these are students from various faculties. So they come to Smart Classroom, Language Labs, or Technology Enabled Classroom to learn English with us. If you notice in these pictures, the students are actually doing oral presentation. They are presenting the stories that they have read. So I think this week the theme is about Malaysian folktales. So you can see on the screen that this group, they are presenting about Bawang Putih and Bawang Merah, one of the Malaysian folktales, and this group is presenting about the curse of Sang Kelembai. So we also have extensive reading, but it is not like your university because you have this extensive reading course on its own. But in our campus, in our university, we have this extensive reading integrated in other language skills. So we have this small component of extensive reading. For example, these students, my diploma students, they have to read short stories, and then they have to do a report, a book report or the short story report in written and also in oral production, in oral presentation. Okay, so something similar like yours, but not to the extent that they will be evaluated on oral presentation skill, but they will only be evaluated on their written responses on the short stories. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do today. So afterwards, I'm going to take you to my university, to UiTM Kedah for a tour. And I'm going to bring you to bring you to Kedah also to show you some interesting places in Kedah. Have you heard Kedah? Are you familiar with the word Kedah? Have you heard Kedah before?
Never have. Miss.
Never. Okay. Kedah is actually a small state in Malaysia. Kedah is actually a small state in Malaysia. It is located in the northern parts of Malaysia. So our university is one of the branch campuses in Kedah, located in Kedah state. So actually my university, UiTM, is the largest university in Malaysia. Why I said that it is the largest university, because in every state in Malaysia, there will be 1 or 2 campuses. So we have like almost 18 campuses altogether in Malaysia. So we are proud to call ourselves as the largest university in Malaysia. Okay, and then I will also talk about reading, extensive reading, but briefly, because Ibu Karlina has already mentioned about extensive reading. So I will be going to talk about it in brief, and then I will give you some tips on how to improve your oral fluency and also how to make an oral presentation. And if I have the time later, perhaps we can do a small class activity. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to UiTM Kedah for a tour. Okay, so I'll bring you to my campus. All right, I will click this YouTube video. I hope it works well. Okay, Pak Prilla, is it audible? Ibu Karlina, is it audible?
Yes, we can hear the sound.
Excuse me?
About the video?
Audible, is it?
Yes, we can hear it clearly, but the video
Okay,
is it?
I'm gonna make the screen larger, okay?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
It seems like we cannot
Yes.
see the video.
You cannot see the video.
Yes.
It is not visible, but it is
Yes.
audible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is audible.
Or
Perhaps
maybe
you
about
can
the
change the
share.
setting, ma'am?
Yeah, the share screen.
Yeah, the share screen and the change the windows. I mean the settings windows.
So I have to click the new share, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
stop share and then start sharing screen again, but with the windows in which content of the video.
Okay, I'll stop sharing there. And
Yeah.
now I'm going to share my screen. Share sound. Okay, share my screen again. Right, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see it.
Now I'm going to show you my YouTube video here, but just now
Yeah.
you were telling me that you couldn't see the video.
Yeah.
So what should I do, yeah? So what should I do here now?
Yeah, just click the video and then it will
Just
pop
click
up
it,
in a new
alright?
windows. Yeah.
All right, you can see it now, right?
Not yet, because I guess that you are supposed to click what is that, the share screen in the new window instead of this one, because sometimes we see several windows in our screen. So we still see the PowerPoint right now.
Oh, you still see my PowerPoint. You don't
Yeah.
see the YouTube video, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, maybe I have to go to my screen. Can
Yeah.
you see the video? Can you see the video?
Not yet.
Maybe you can choose the desktop sharing, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, the desktop sharing, ma'am.
The
It's
desktop
not
The
sharing.
desktop sharing.
Yes.
How do I do that?
Click the share
Hold on.
screen.
I'm going to call my technician.
Okay. Take your time.
Okay, I cannot. They cannot see my YouTube video. They cannot see my YouTube video. Can you help me, please? Okay. I think I'm gonna skip it a bit. Perhaps when my technician is here, I can come back to the video. Okay. So I'm gonna proceed with other content. Sorry about that because this is my first time using Zoom doing presentation. Okay, my technician is here.
No worries, no worries. Take your time.
My technician is here. Okay, all right.
No
Can you
worries.
help it? Can you help me because you cannot see my YouTube video?
Or perhaps Memrara can help you to share the YouTube video. Yeah, send the link to Mem Karlina perhaps.
Oh, we can see.
already seen.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Run away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is the sound muted because we cannot hear the
Yes.
sound of
The sound of the
the video?
video. Can you hear the sound? Is it audible?
No, I'm so sorry, but it is not audible.
It is audible here.
It is audible.
Also in here, it's
Yeah.
okay.
It's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear it.
We
Yeah.
can hear.
Oh, really?
You can hear.
Audible
So can I
audio.
continue with the video?
No, we can hear it already. You can proceed.
You can hear it already. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll proceed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's about my campus. So I'm coming back to my presentation. Even though my campus is just a small campus, and it is one of the branch campuses, it is an active campus. We have been acknowledged as one of the active campus who are doing global learning. And if you notice in the video just now, we have a very huge pineapple farm, and we produce our own batik. We produce our own batik, and our batik has gone to the international market already. Okay, so I will skip this virtual tour to my state Kedah. I will just proceed to my presentation. If we have the time, I will take you for a tour to Kedah state. Okay, so I think I will just proceed with the presentation. So because Pak Prilla has mentioned you're going to have quiz later at the end of the session, I think it is advisable if you take notes during the lecture. I think it's not a lecture. I'm going to share tips with you. Okay, so don't regard it as a formal lecture. So I'm going to share something with you, yeah, related to oral fluency. So I think some related issues with oral presentation. I noticed this when I give my students oral presentation tasks. Their responses will be like, oh, madam, I do not have any ideas. I do not know what to say. How do I start the presentation? And this speaking task is too hard. And I think you also face the same scenario. You also have this in your mind before you start doing your or preparing your oral presentations. And why do you think this happened? Okay, why do they think so? Why do they think that it is difficult? They don't have ideas. They don't have the preparation or the motivation to do oral presentation. So I think some of the reasons are lack of vocabulary, lack of grammar confidence, lack of self-confidence, maybe you lack ideas, lack of factual resources, and perhaps students have this insecurity because you are scared you'll be laughed at if you mispronounce some words. Okay, so these are some of the problems that I have highlighted here. Do you have other problems that make you scared of doing oral presentation or make you feel insecure about your oral presentation? Do you want to add to my list? Perhaps Ibu Karlina or Pak Prilla, you want to add to my list here? Sufficient? Or you want to
Please,
add more?
yeah.
Yeah. So how do we overcome this? So how do you as students try to improve this? Okay, you know that you lack vocabulary, you know that you lack ideas, you lack self-confidence, you have this insecurity about your pronunciation. How do you improve this? How do you make yourself become a better speaker at oral presentation? Okay, so do you know that by doing extensive reading, the course that you're doing now, it is actually a motivating approach to improve your English. You can actually improve or develop your speaking skill through this extensive reading. So this course is actually a good course for you because it helps you develop speaking. And today I'm going to share with you how extensive reading helps you to improve your oral fluency. Okay, and Madam Karlina or Ibu Karlina just now shared that extensive reading, most of the time you do this outside the classroom. Okay, you have materials, books, or short stories that you read outside the classroom, and it is the most significant influence on oral communication ability. Okay, and through reading, students develop both. You develop both fluency and accuracy of expression in their speaking. Okay, you have this intensive reading that helps you build your accuracy because you learn grammar, you learn vocabulary, you learn language in intensive reading, but you learn for enjoyment, reading for enjoyment. And then you want to develop your fluency through extensive reading. So through reading, it actually helps you to develop both fluency and also accuracy. And how extensive reading helps to improve your English. Okay, according to this author, Lisa C., she said that read 1,000 books and your words will flow like a river. Ibu Karlina mentioned just now, you have to read a lot. You have to read lots of material. So the more you read, Your words will flow like a river. Okay, who can tell me what does it mean here by the word flow? Okay, I welcome your response. What is the word flow here? What does it mean? Why does the author use the word flow? Read 1,000 books and the words will flow like a river. Why flow? What does it mean? Any response?
Because you're not stuck when you're speaking.
Yeah, because you will not be stuck. You will have that flair of language. Okay. Flow here means fluency, your ability to use the words effortlessly so that you will speak at ease. Okay. And I always believe that fluent readers, if you are good at reading, you will be good at speaking as well. Your speaking will improve. Okay. And believe me, extensive reading actually contributes to speaking achievement. And how do they contribute? Okay. When you read extensively, it develops your ability to express ideas. Because from the books you read, or from the short stories you read, or from the articles you read, you will learn a lot of expressions. And you will eventually learn how to express your own ideas. Okay, you will learn how to express ideas in a formal way or in an informal way. Okay, and of course, the more you read, the more vocabulary you have. Okay, the larger the size of your vocabulary. And vocabulary is the vocabulary knowledge is one of the crucial factors that will influence fluency in speaking. Okay, most of my students, I observe that they have problem in oral presentations because they lack of vocab. So it is important that you read a lot because the more you read, the more vocab you have. And this vocabulary will help you when you do your oral presentation. Okay, for example, if you use words like big, you know that there are also other words to explain big. You have enormous, you have the word gigantic, you have more words. Okay, you have the synonyms, you learn the synonyms. So you will not be talking, you'll not be using only that same word over and over again. Since you are diploma 1, now you are already in diploma 6. Are you going to use the same word? Through reading, you build your vocabulary and you can use this when you do your presentation. Okay, and the wider body of language and context. Okay, you will learn how to use language in context. You learn the words, the meaning of the words in context. Madam, just now, Ibu Karlina mentioned about you don't have to actually go to the dictionary over and over again, many times. For example, you have 100 pages. Are you going to flip through 100 times to your dictionary? You can guess the meaning of the words using contextual clues. Okay, and reading actually help learners build up better grammar skills. Eventually, you will learn grammar through reading. Okay, so as learners develop stronger reading skills, you will develop more sophisticated speaking skills. Trust me. I think most of great speakers, for example, in my country, Malaysia, you know that Tun Mahathir is a great speaker. Of course, he is a great speaker because he read tons of books. He read lots of books. And through this reading helps him to become a sophisticated speaker. All right? So believe me that fluent readers will become fluent speakers. Not only you become fluent speakers, you will also become fluent writers. Okay? Just now, when I look at your syllabus, I know that you have these 2 tasks. You have to write a summary of the book that you have read, summary of the extensive reading materials that you have read, and then you have to present it in oral presentation. So through reading a lot, you can actually become better at these 2. You can become better at writing and you can become better at speaking as well. But the challenge for you is how are you going to improve your oral fluency through these extensive reading tasks? Okay, firstly, let me define the word oral fluency. So you have been listening to oral fluency oral fluency over and over again, and your lecturers have been telling you, you need to improve your oral fluency. You need to improve your speaking skill. But how are you going to improve it? Okay, let me define oral fluency to you. Okay, this is a simple definition, yeah? Oral fluency can be defined as the ability to express oneself intelligibly, reasonably, accurately, and without too much hesitation. Okay? And how to develop it. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some simple tips. Maybe you already know the tips. Okay, so I'm going to give you simple tips, and afterward I'm going to give you two or more challenging tips for you that you can apply in order for you to improve your oral fluency. Okay, you know that in order to become a good speaker, in order to become fluent, you need to practice. You know that already. Okay, you need to speak, you need to speak, and you need to speak. Okay, so in Ibu Karlina's class, so in Pak Prilla's class, you have to speak using the target language. You have to speak in English, and perhaps outside the class, you must try to practice to speak in English so that you will be confident when you use the language. And do not be afraid to make mistakes. Just now, some of the reasons why students hesitate or why students worry so much when they have this oral presentation task, because they are scared to make mistakes. They are scared if they mispronounce. Okay, so now I'm telling you, do not be afraid to make mistakes. It is good that you will be laughed at the first time because you learn from it and you will not repeat the mistakes, and you will not be laughed again the next time you do your presentation. Okay, and you need to practice, because practice will improve your pronunciation and vocabulary. And you know that speaking is like learning a musical instrument. Okay, you know that if you learn how to play guitar, the more you play guitar, the better you become, the better you will be a guitar player. Okay, the better guitar player you will be. And if you learn how to play piano, you need to practice playing piano every day so that you'll be good at it. Okay, same goes to speaking. If you speak every day, you practice every day, you become a good speaker. And tips number 2, use technology. I know that every students, you have a smartphone. Okay, some of you have the latest smartphone, you have better phones than the lecturers. Ibu Karlina, what phone are you having now? What is your brand, the smartphone brand that you have right now, that you're using right now?
I'm using from Apple,
Oh, okay,
currently.
all right. So maybe some the students are using better handphones or better smartphones than us, yeah. So if
Yes.
you have your smartphone, try to use it. Okay, use your smartphone to the max. Okay, when you have oral presentation tasks, use your smartphone to record yourself speaking. Okay, and then listen to yourself speaking. From there, you can learn how to improve it. Perhaps you think, oh, your sentence is too long, or your pronunciation is not correct, and maybe your vocabulary is not suitable. The diction that you choose is inappropriate, and you might want to replace it. Okay, and you know that your smartphone has a lot of apps, so you may use these apps to help you to learn new words. Okay, and the third tips, you have to listen. Okay, maybe in your class you can listen to Pak Prilla speaking in English, you can listen to Ibu Karlina, or you can listen to songs, you can listen to news, and this listening activity will help you to improve your pronunciation and also to help you to choose words or help you to learn vocabulary. Okay, and you may copy what you hear and practice. I remember when I was a student like you, I used to do this. Okay, I will copy or I will imitate the news reader and try to practice. And this actually helps to improve your fluency as well. And the fourth tip, Do interesting activities in English. If you know that there are activities going around the campus and the activities are conducted in English, do get involved in it. It will help yourself. And using English and doing things, talking about things you enjoy will make practicing a positive experience. Okay, so these are the simple tips. Now I'm going to give you a more challenging ways on how you can follow so that it can help you to improve your oral fluency, especially when you're doing extensive reading class. Okay, you know that you have to report the stories that you have read from a book, the novels, or the interesting materials that you have read, and you have to respond to it by giving an oral report. Okay, try to do this practice with your colleagues or with your classmates or with your friends. Okay, do oral book report in your hostel. Are you staying in the hostel? Are the students staying in the hostel, Bu Karlina?
Some of them.
Are the students staying? Some of them. Okay, so if you have your friends, in the hostel, perhaps you can do this activity with your friend. You ask your friend to tell you about the book that your friend has been reading, or the book that they have read, the book that they are going to present in the class to you, or maybe you listen to your friend and ask your friend to listen to you, and you do this oral book report activity among yourself. This will help with oral fluency improvement. Because believe me, when your friends commented on your presentation, you can take it seriously. You can improve it. You can improve your oral presentation or oral fluency before you actually present it in front of the class or in front of your lecturers who are going to evaluate your presentation. Okay. And the second activity that you can do rehearsal or repetition. Okay, why I said rehearsal or repetition? It is because oral fluency improvement requires repetitious rehearsal. Okay, if you do it repeatedly, you will eventually improve yourself. Okay, you need repeated practices so that the spoken output would not sound like a memorized speech. Okay, of course, you know that, okay, my students always say this, madam, it's not easy because we are not native speakers. We cannot speak naturally like the native. But I always tell them, you can actually be near native, okay, by doing practice, okay, by rehearsal your speech. You do the rehearsal, repeatedly do the rehearsals, so that when you do your presentation, you will not be like a robot standing in front of the class and memorize all the speech. Okay, and once you lost for words, you lost everything. Don't do that. Okay, so the more you practice, the more natural you may sound. You may sound like the native speaker. Okay, and another tip is you do these formula sequences. Okay, you know that you are not really good, but then you have to do this practice. You do the sequence of your presentation. Okay, what you want to say first, what you want to say next, okay, what you want to say at the end. Okay, sequence your presentation. For example, if you read a book, okay, what do you want to say first about the book? Perhaps you want to talk about the author, okay, and how much you love the books written by this particular author. Okay, perhaps you want to do that. And maybe you want to talk about one of the incident that happened, or one of the scene, or one of the chapters in the book. You want to highlight it. Maybe by highlighting it, you can ask a question, a thought-provoking question. You have to plan it all in a sequence. Okay. So you may be starting your presentation, your oral presentation, with an introduction. So you have to plan what you want to say in the introduction, and then in the body content, okay, you write what you want to say in the body content, and then conclusion. So what technique you want to use when you want to have a closure. Okay, you like to ask a question, or maybe you want to have a conclusion with a thought-provoking question, or maybe you want to end your presentation with a question, but you don't need them to answer. Maybe you let them think. Okay, you let them think of the answer later. Okay, so you can have these several techniques, but you have to really put them in sequence so that when you do your presentation, when you do your oral presentation, you'll be more confident because you have already arranged it. Okay, try to use discourse markers. Are you familiar with the word discourse markers? Students, are you familiar with the word discourse markers?
Not
What,
really.
miss? No.
Discourse markers is like transition markers, or you use linking words like firstly, secondly. Firstly, I'm going to talk about, and you have that secondly, you have that thirdly, you have this furthermore when you want to add information, in addition when you want to add information, or however when you have a different shift of opinion. Okay, use these discourse markers so that the audience, you will take the audience to your presentation. They will follow you and they will, okay, now we are going to listen to the next mystery. Or now she is going to bring us to the conflict of the story. Or now she is telling us that she is going to end already. Okay, if there is no discourse markers, the audience or your lecturers will be like stunned because you will say, that's all, thank you. That's all, thank you. Oh, done already, finished already. Because you didn't use discourse markers so that the audience, they cannot follow you well. Okay, so these discourse markers is actually to direct the audience to your presentation. They have a kind of guideline or kind of direction to your presentation. Okay, and another tip is try this communicative free production. Okay, what does it mean by communicative free production? You know that you have this oral presentation or oral production of your reflective reading material. Try to have this communicative free production, meaning you are not going to present in front of the class from a memorized script. Okay, so you may have read extensive reading material outside the class and you have to present it, the output of it, in your classroom. Am I right? Okay, so it should be interactive and it should be free when you want to communicate with your audience. Maybe you want to have a few questions to ask your audience so that there will be interaction with your audience. Okay, and you should be speaking freely rather than giving a memorized speech. Okay, and another one is teacher feedback reports. Okay, perhaps, I don't know about Ibu Karlina, do you give them like a mock presentation before they do their real presentation? Do you have this mock presentation, or do they have practice in the class before they do the actual presentation?
Not really. Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, it doesn't matter if you don't have these teacher feedback reports, maybe you can have feedback from your colleagues or from a friend, because you may want to rehearse your speech, or you may want to rehearse your oral production or oral presentation in front of your colleagues, or maybe in front of your senior. Okay, and then they may give feedback to you, and take this feedback seriously, because this feedback will help you improve your oral fluency. This is not the way to say it. This is the way to pronounce the word. This is not the way you talk about your second point. This is how you introduce your second point. So they may give feedback like that. So from there, you can try to improve it. Okay, for example, like one of my degree classes, we do have this oral presentation skill. And before they do their presentation, normally they have this mock presentation. And from this mock presentation, they will get feedbacks from their classmates. and also the lecturer, and they will take these comments in a positive way so that they can improve when it comes to the real presentation. And we do have another oral presentation skill where students will be evaluated from their fluency. It is called forum and discussion. The degree students in part 2, they have this forum and discussion where they have to discuss about a subject from an article that they have read. Okay, so the students will be evaluated from their based on their oral fluency and their understanding of the materials that they have read. Quite similar to yours, but it is not actually extensive reading. Okay. All right. So far, do you have any questions, or maybe we will have Q&A later, so you can have a question for me at the end of the session. Okay. So just now, when I look at your syllabus, it says that in extensive reading, you get to choose your own materials. Am I right? You get to choose your own materials, right? So now I would like to give you some guides on how you should choose the material, because you are going to talk about that material. You are going to speak orally, and you are going to present it. You are going to talk about the book that you have read, or the short story that you have read, or the novel that you have read, and you want it to be presented. Okay, so it must be something that is enjoyable to you. Okay, for example, if you hate that book so much, if you hate that novel so much, why do you want to choose it? Okay, so there are 3 things that you can consider when you want to choose a material for you that can help you in your presentation, so that when you do your own presentation, you will not be having difficult moments. Okay, all right. Firstly, you have to look at the genre. Okay, do not choose. Okay, for example, your classmates, they have chosen a certain genre, but you don't really like that genre, but because your friends have chosen that, so you think that if you choose another genre, you might be alien. Okay, so do not follow the crowd. Follow what you like. Okay, for example, you like a classical type of novel. Okay, you like to read a historical novel. Okay, so choose that. For example, you like science fiction, so choose science fiction. If you like something adventurous, so try to choose something adventurous. If you like maybe a mystery or maybe horror stories, choose that genre. So the genre that you choose must be the genre that you prefer. It is according to your preference. Okay, and number 2, the thing that you need to consider is the level of the book. Okay, do not choose a too difficult level, and do not choose a too easy level. Choose the level which is suitable for you, because you are the person who's going to read the book. Do not ask your lecturer or your friend, which book should I read? Yeah, I don't have a book yet, so can you suggest? Okay, so your friend's suggestion of the book or of the extensive reading material may not be suitable to your level. So it is advisable that you should choose it yourself. Okay, and the third thing to consider is you have to look at how enjoyable or interesting the book is. Because if you yourself find the book boring, imagine you are going to talk about the boring book that you have read. Okay, it must be a boring presentation as well. If you find it enjoyable, yeah, you will be passionate to talk about the excitement, the feeling of excitement that you have when you read the book, and you would like to share that with the audience. Okay, so that the audience will be interested to know more about the book. Perhaps you can encourage them to read the book that you have read. Okay, so you have to find books in English that are perfect for you. Don't find the books that are perfect for your friends. The one that is perfect for your friend might not be perfect for you. Okay? All right. Now moving on, I'm going to give you some tips on how to give a good oral presentations. Okay? Just now I've given you some tips on how to develop your fluency through extensive reading and how to give a good oral presentation. Okay, you already have your material with you, and now you are about to do your oral presentation. Okay, so I have these three things, three tips for you, simple one. Firstly, you have to think about your presentation. Okay, you have to think about it. You can't run away from it. You have to start thinking. Once Ibu Karlina has assigned you this work, okay, you have to start thinking about the material, about what you want to do when you do your oral presentation. You have to think about it, okay? And then you have to plan it well. Okay, you have to plan what you're going to do, and then you have to rehearse it or practice it before you do the actual talking, before you do the actual presentation. Okay, imagine that you already have your material, you already have your book, okay, you already have your novel. Perhaps you can do some activities before you read or while reading and after reading. Okay, this one you do on your own, okay? All right, so perhaps when you have your book, okay, you know that you have this assignment and you need to find a book. So perhaps you go to the library, you found one book. Okay, you found one book. Before reading it, perhaps you can do a book feature procedure. Okay, so what is a book feature procedure? You may want to look at the title, or the title sounds so interesting. Okay, and then maybe you want to look at the cover of the book. There are pictures about the characters. And then perhaps you want to look at your author. Oh, this author is very popular. Or this author is unknown. However, the title is so intriguing. The title is so mysterious. Okay, perhaps you want to know more by looking just at the cover. And then you look at the illustrations and you find the publisher, or this publisher is very well known. Okay, so have this curiosity of the material that you want to present. Okay, then still the before reading, yeah, this is the thinking stage. Okay, not yet preparing your presentation. Okay, maybe you can tell a story by its cover. You don't read yet. This is the before reading activity. Okay, you tell a story by its cover. You look at the cover of the book, and then you ask yourself, do some predicting activities. Okay, what do you think happened? Yeah, and who is this character by looking at the pictures here? And what is this? Okay, study the cover of the book and ask yourself, I wonder what the book is about. If you don't have this curiosity when you look at the book, you just put it back in the rack in the library. Maybe you don't have the interest to read it. Okay, try to do this. If the book make you curious, by just looking at the cover, make you have this curiosity, make you have this liking to the book already, perhaps you may choose that as the book or as the best material for your presentation. Remember, you are going to present based on the material that you have chosen yourself. Ibu Karlina will not choose for you, but Prilla will not choose for you, but you will choose it yourself. So it must be something that you like, okay? And then after you have taken a book, you have done this before reading activity, perhaps you want to look at the first page, okay? And then this is your while reading activity. You may want to ask yourself questions like, if you were the author of the story, what you make happen in the story, okay? Who might the characters be? Who do you think the main characters is? Ask these questions. As you read the story, as you read the book, as you read the novel, do have questions ready, okay? You have your paper with you and a pen. You ask yourself these questions because these questions will help you to do your oral presentation later. Okay, so after you have read the whole book, try to imagine yourself as the writer of the book. If you were the writer of the book, how would you tell or how would you say about your book so that people will buy your book? example, imagine yourself. Try to put yourself in the author's shoes. You want people to buy a book, so how are you going to talk about it? Okay, imagine. So you have this imagine activity, imagine yourself. Or perhaps after you have read the book, imagine if you were to be one of the characters in the story, how would you react differently? So when you do your presentation, you may want to focus on this, for example, main character. And when you read the story, you may not like, maybe you would like to give your opinion about the character. You don't really like the character because you think the character is too passive. If you were to be the author of the story, you like to have that character to be more proactive, something like that. Okay, so try to do this, and perhaps you can have the best presentation in history. Okay, so remember, just now I told you that you have to plan your presentation well. Okay, so you know that when you want to give your own presentation, it is quite similar to when you want to write an essay. Okay, when you want to write essay, you have this introduction, body, and conclusion. It is similar to your speaking or to your oral presentation. Introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay, so these are a few guidelines. Okay, I will explain one by one afterwards. Okay, the first guideline is you have to review. Okay, first review guidelines. Okay, so remember you have this think, plan, and speak. Think, plan, and talk method. So this is the thinking method. Okay, just now I've shared with you something simple, and this is more difficult, not to say more difficult, this is like you have to do this in a detailed way, so because you are about to give your presentation already. So first you have to review the guidelines. Students always, they fail to read guidelines, so when they do their presentation, they make mistakes here and there, and then when I ask them, why did you do this? Okay, it is because the student didn't read the guidelines clearly. Okay, firstly, you have to know how much time are given to you. Okay, for example, your presentation is about 5 minutes, but you talk about 1 hour. So certainly you do not follow the guideline. Okay, and think about the purpose of the talk. What is the talk about? You are supposed to present or give a presentation about the book that you have read, for example. In this course, you have this extensive reading material and you're supposed to present about it. Okay, so that is the purpose of your presentation, whether it is to inform the audience, to entertain, or to persuade your audience. So which one? Okay, and you also have to consider your audience. Who are they? How much do they already know about your topic? Okay, for example, you have chosen a very popular story, everybody knows about that story. So you know that your friends already know about the story. So my advice is don't choose that one because they will not feel excited to know about it already because they have the information already. Okay. Okay. And then, yeah, just now, I think you have this material selection. You know that you have to select your own material. So you already know your own topic. Okay. So decide on the specific area that you will present. Okay, for example, if you have a book, a novel that you want to present, so which part of the novel that you would like to focus on, which area? Okay, you know that you have the story element, you have this plot, you have character and characteristics or themes. Perhaps you want to only focus on the theme of the story because there are good themes that you think that you want to talk about. So you focus on the theme. Okay, at the same time, pay attention to the time you have available. Okay, all right, so you have to collect your ideas and gather more information if you need to. Okay, and then the second step is your planning stage. Okay, so you have to write your talk. After you have gathered all the information, you have to write your talk. Write your talk here. What I mean by write your talk here is you don't have to write your whole speech. Okay, you have to make notes on what to include in your presentation. Okay, so what you must tell the audience, what you should tell them, and what you would like to tell them if you have the time. Okay, sometimes you have prepared a lot of things, but you may not want to tell a lot of things that you have prepared. That depends on the time given to you. Okay, so if you have the time, perhaps you can tell everything, but if you don't have that available time, perhaps you will skip some unimportant things. Okay, and most importantly, you have to create an outline or plan your talk. You have to plan it. Okay, consider writing an introduction. I have mentioned earlier, you have the introduction, body, and also conclusion. All right, and make notes on your presentation. Okay, so this is producing notes. I'm going to show you one example. You can make notes. For example, the topic or the book that you have read or the article that you have read is about learning English. Okay, so you have to make notes like this in English for ESL student. You can have cards. Okay, so in this card, maybe you can write introduction, what you want to say in the introduction, but do not write the whole speech. Or maybe you can have the overview of what you want to say. Okay, and then perhaps you can have this card. You can write this in your card. When you show slide 1, what are the things that you want to say? Okay, so for the intro, write briefly, and then the overview, you can say, for example, I intend to outline 3 important points about learning English, and then the second, you want to show the second slide and write briefly what is the point that you want to focus on the second slide. So you can have this. This will help you to develop your fluency, and this will help you not to have difficult moments when you do your presentations. Okay, now producing notes. Try to get the attention of the audience at the beginning. Maybe you can start with a joke, okay, a surprising fact, or a personal anecdote. Personal anecdote, maybe you can tell your own story. You have the same experience as what the incident happened in the story. Okay, for example, the story is telling about a family. Okay, so maybe you can start by sharing something that happened in your life, which is quite similar to what happened in the story. Okay, you can share this. Okay, and then you can close with a summary or an invitation for people to ask questions. But my students do not want to have this invitation for people to ask questions, because they said, if I invite my colleagues to ask questions, I am actually asking for trouble. Okay, because they may ask questions that I cannot answer myself. Okay, so but I think when my students, the diploma students are now doing degree, they are getting smarter already. They have these prepared questions. Okay, so before they start their own presentation, when they want to present the story that they have read, okay, they give questions in advance so that they have questions that they can answer themselves. Okay, so perhaps you can do this, but I don't know. Don't tell Ibu Karlina that you want to do this. Okay, and some people find it useful to write out the whole introduction and conclusion, but this depends on how you feel prepared about your topic. Okay, if you are like you are easy to get nervous, or if you think that you are not well prepared, perhaps you want to write the whole introduction and conclusion. But my advice is, if you have enough practice, you don't need that whole write up about your speech. You just write briefly. Okay. All right. And then when you want to do your presentation, your own presentation, of course, you need to prepare your visual aids. Okay. I am not good at visual aids myself. Sometimes I also need help from other colleagues who are good at preparing visual aids, but I'm still learning. Okay, so but visual aids helps to you communicate your audience, your talk to your audience. Okay, sometimes you don't have to you just show pictures or some visuals on the screen, and so that the audience will not be focusing on you. If some people, they are scared to speak, and it will like a distraction for them if they have audience who are looking at them. So if you have interesting visuals to show, the audience will certainly look at the visuals rather than focusing on you. Okay, so do not put too much information on the slide. Okay, use posters or pictures. Make sure they are clear and readable. Okay, all right. So simple guidelines. Be selective of the information that you want to share. Okay, for example, your book is 200 pages. So what are the points? So what are the interesting things that you want to share from that 200 pages novel? So you have to be selective. Okay, and when you want to prepare your visual, maybe you want to use only keywords, and do not put too much information there. Okay, so these are the simple example. Okay, basic tips. Use notes, not sentences. Do not write your script. Okay, for example, you have been reading material about, your extensive reading material is about learning English. So you are telling your audience there are 3 points, there are 3 main points in learning English. You have listening, reading, and speaking. And for listening, you have this, you have to listen to movies, podcasts, and audiobooks. So you have this in bullet form here, bullet points here. So you don't write the whole speech in your visual aids. Okay. All right. So now it's time to practice. Okay. Practice your talk. Okay. Remember, you have this think, plan, and talk. Okay. So before you do your actual oral presentation, you may want to practice your talk. You know that practice makes perfect. So practice. The more you practice, the more you feel confident. Okay. You know that even at this level, when I want to do presentation, I also have to practice. Okay. For example, like today, for today, I actually prepared this whole thing since Friday, I think since Thursday. Okay. So that I know what I'm going to talk about inside out. Because when you do your presentation, for example, you have this material that you have read and you want to talk about it. Okay. So you are the person who have been reading this book, or you are the person who have been reading this material inside out, and nobody else know about it. So you have all the points at your fingertips. You are the master of everything. Okay. So don't be afraid to talk about it because you know about what you have read. Okay. Try to practice alone first. Okay. And then try to keep track of time and focusing on topic of presentation. And maybe you can ask your friend or your colleagues, please listen to your presentation. Ask them to check your tone of voice. Is it my voice, is it too loud or is it clear? Okay, you ask your friend to comment. Okay, and when your friends commented on your presentation, don't be so sensitive or don't be so defensive. Take it in a positive way so that you can improve it. Okay, and then you can use dictionary or online sites to check your pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Okay, for example, your friend say, hey, this is not the way to pronounce the word, and you don't believe your friend. Okay, if you don't believe your friend, don't tell your friend, I don't believe you. The next time you ask your friend to help you, your friend may not want to volunteer already. Okay, so the way you want to check, maybe you can go to the online sites to check how to pronounce the word correctly. Okay. Okay, prepare for Q&A. I have already mentioned just now. Maybe you can have a prepared questions to the audience, or maybe you want to be spontaneous. You can predict what they want to ask. Okay, as you are reading or when you're preparing, you can already predict what kind of question they may want to ask you. So maybe you can have your answers ready there. Okay, so some language tips. Okay, just now I've been given you tips on how to improve your oral fluency and how to do your presentation. And now I'm going to share with you some language tips, okay? So some useful language bank. Do not start, okay, my student used to say, oh, cliche, madam. Okay, what do they mean by cliche? Cliche is if everybody start the presentation using the same expression. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Maybe you want to start by not saying good morning, okay? So maybe you want to use something else, my talk today as a means, or maybe you want to talk by giving a personal anecdote, and then after that, only you tell, and then you greet the audience, okay? You don't start with greeting first, you start with a joke, and then after that, you greet your audience. Okay, so you can have many ways of doing your introduction, and look at the useful language bank. You can say, hello everyone, today I'm going to, this is what my students say, cliche, because you tell straight away, today I'm going to, what you're going to do, you tell it straight away. Okay, so maybe you don't like this style, you can have other styles. You can look in a presentation skills book. There are many books you can refer to, okay, so that you will learn how to introduce your presentation, okay? And if you want to explain, okay, you can say that in this presentation, I intend to outline, or I will discuss the main features of something. And if you want to introduce each point, maybe you can say, I would like to begin my presentation by looking at the whole picture. Okay, the first point that I would like to highlight is, and the second point is, and this is what I call the discourse markers or the transitional words. Okay, so that the audience will follow your presentation very well, so that the audience will follow you from the beginning until the end in a smooth transition. Okay, and if you want to clarify something, maybe you want to say in other words, or this is to say, and what I mean is, because you want to clarify something, what I mean by this word flow, okay, is, okay? And if you want to change the subject, so I have discussed this, now I'm going to talk about something else. Now I'd like to turn to something else, okay? And what are the useful language when you want to say that you want to conclude everything? Okay, is it in conclusion? Imagine like you have 40 students in your class and everybody close the presentation by saying in conclusion, it will be so boring. Okay, so there are many ways of concluding something. Okay, all right. Before I move on to another slide, I would like to ask Ibu Karlina, how much time do I have? How much time do I have now, or can I just proceed? Or have I exceeded the time?
Actually, we are already reached the time, ma'am, but it's okay if you want to continue.
Okay, so actually I will continue just a little bit more. Okay, so before giving your presentation, you must feel confident about your English. Okay, practice your pronunciation, be fully prepared about the topic, and learn how to answer possible questions. And don't forget to rehearse. Okay, a little bit more, yeah. So maybe I don't have the time to show you the videos by my students, but I have already given this PowerPoint to Ibu Karlina and Pak Prilla. Perhaps you can show your students when you are having classes with them. Okay, so for example, here in my university, when my students have this oral presentation task, I always ask them to practice, and they have to send in their YouTube video. So this video will show you how the student practice on self-introduction. Okay, I will skip this. All right. Remember, when you want to do your oral presentation, try to make eye contact. Do not read from your script, or do not read, and try to avoid distracting behavior, and take your time when you are actually presenting. You can take your time to think, okay, during the presentation. Don't rush. Some people used to speak quickly because they want to finish early. Okay, they want to get it all over and done with. Okay, slow your pace and include pauses. Avoid fillers like okay, try to avoid this. Okay, you can project your voice so that everybody can hear you well, speak clearly. This is another video that I don't have the time to show you. This is how to engage with the audience. Okay, and this is another video which actually I would like you to watch it and learn from this speaker. And this is actually a presentation about extensive reading from a student from Indonesia. It is a good video. I think you should watch this video. And I don't think so. I have this activity that I can do this activity with the student. Yeah, Ibu Karlina, I have to skip this as well. Yeah. Okay, actually I have this presentation. I would like you to do a simple book report, simple oral book report. So actually you have to choose the book that you have read and then choose one of the question here and then talk about it. So this is a simple activity that you can do in order for you to improve your oral fluency when you do your oral presentation. Okay, and this is another video. The student is presenting extensive reading. The student is presenting the novel that she has read. This is also presented by a student from Indonesia. I found this video very, very interesting and very helpful if you want to watch it because you want to do your presentation as well, right? So this is a good one. Okay, but I don't have the time to show it to you. So I would like to wrap up my presentation today by saying this. Okay, good things happen to students who read a great deal. If you read a lot, good things will happen to you. And one of the good things is oral fluency. So in order for you to improve your oral fluency, what you can do is read, and read a lot of materials. Okay, so thank you for your attention. So I'm going to pass this presentation over to Ibu Karlina. Sorry if I have exceeded the time. Ibu Karlina?
It's okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Maybe if you want to show us a nice video of how the good presentation should be, we would love to see that. We still got the time.
Okay, all right. Oh, you want me to share? Do you want me to share the presentation?
We
Oh,
would
okay,
love to
all
see
right.
that.
So I will have to share my screen again. Okay, hold on, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is a presentation about extensive reading novel. Yeah, I will play it. I hope, but there is no. You can only listen to the presentation. There's no visual. It is audio only, I think.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, Ibu Karlina, is it audible? Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear that.
Can hear that, yeah? Okay.
My name is Salsabila Nevalarisa, and today I will summarize my books, and the book's title is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F-U-C-K. So this book is talking about finding meaning and important things in life and only having those value that an individual can control. Whatever value such as popularity, that is not under person's control and is a bad value to have. A person should strive to replace it with something more controllable such as honesty or kindness. So in chapter 4, I've read the title of this chapter is The Value of Suffering. In the book, Manson used a metaphor to help us understand ourselves, the self-awareness onion. So Manson said, self-awareness is like an onion. There are multiple layers to it, and the more you peel them back, the more likely you are going to start crying at inappropriate times. So the first layer is a simple understanding of one's emotion. How do I feel? What is this emotion? Like emotions, I'm sad. I kind of feel depressed. I'm happy right now. So we should understanding of one's emotion. The second layer is an ability to ask why we feel certain emotions. Why do I feel that way? Why am I sad? Why am I kind of depressed? Why am I happy right now? The third layer is our personal values. Why do I consider to be success or to be valued? How am I choosing to measure myself? By what standard am I judging myself and everyone around me? So clearly, knowing your values is important because in the end, they determine the quality of your life. The author offers a simple system to find out why something bothers you. First, ask why. Second, keep on asking why. Why does this seem true? Overall, I think this book tries to comfort us from failure, and even though we fall, we'll still be okay. So for those who may be experiencing a failure or desperate, reading and understanding this book is very helpful to see a problem for a different perspective. Okay, I think that's all that I can tell you today. Thanks for watching, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I would like to comment on the presentation.
Hi all, my name is
Sorry,
Chloe
sorry.
Chansuling, alumni from Masa Dental Faculty, class of 2011.
Okay, about the video just now, it is not a perfect presentation actually, but it is a good report on the book that she has read. Okay, if you notice the presentation, the student actually, she has the personal her personal opinion. She gave a lot of personal opinion about the book, and then she tried to explain it in a very simple way, and then try to bring you to like the book that she has read. And if you notice, some of the pronunciation is not very perfect, like determine should be determined, but she said determine. And I do not actually like the way she ended the presentation, because the way she ended the presentation is so abrupt. Okay, because she just said that's all. Okay, I always tell my students, do not end your presentation with that's all. Okay, there are many ways that you can close your presentation in a more creative ways. So try to avoid that's all the next time you want to do your presentation. Okay, so I think Ibu Karlina, I have shared one video. Actually, I feel like if I have more time, I would like to share more. Okay, but I just wish that we can meet another time so that we can have more sharing. Yeah, Ibu Karlina. Okay, so
Yeah,
thanks
we
so
would love
much.
to. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Sharina Saad, for the presentation. Now we are moving on to the Q&A session. I've already collected the question from our student, from the participants. Let me share the screen to you. Okay. This one. The first question from Dewa Bagus. Good morning, Ma'am Saad. I would like to ask you a question about how to increase the interest on reading for a person who doesn't like to read. Thank you.
This is a very interesting question, because yeah, I think today it is quite difficult to encourage students, because you are not from our generation. Okay, for example, like myself, when I was small, when I was little, my father used to take me to the library. So that's how I learned to love books. Okay, so I think you people do not visit National Library nowadays. So that's why you don't have this habit of reading. You don't fall in love with novels. Okay, so how to encourage you to like reading? Okay, this is what I did with my students who are like Dewa Bagus, who do not like to read. Okay, So what I did is, okay, for example, the week that we have this indigenous theme, okay. So for my reading syllabus, I have selection of stories that my students need to read, okay. And I have always uploaded these stories to Google Classroom, expecting my students to read themselves. But it turned out that nobody read. Okay, so what I did was I put a note there that they have to prepare a game from the story. And I know that students nowadays, you love video games. You love all these games which is related to technology. So this is how I encourage the students to read the story, because when they want to prepare the games, they have to read the story. So this is what I did with my students. So Dewa Bagus, I hope you will try to, this is the technique that I use in my class. I encourage the students to create a game, a small game. So they create a game among themselves. For example, they read the story and they create a game using Kahoot or using a simple animation. For one of the group, what they did, this is a group of boys. Okay, you know that it is difficult to encourage the male student, especially to read literature text, literary text. So the boys, they actually create a board game based on the story. So this is what I did to encourage my students to read. And for my own students who are degree students, what I did was I asked them to write what they like, what topic they like, what is their interest. So they have written down their interests, their personal interests, and they shared it. So they have to find a reading text which is related to their personal interests. Because for this course, you get to choose your own material, so you better choose the material that's of your own interest. So that will encourage you to speak. That will encourage you to read. Sorry, Dewa Bagus. Okay, so I hope I have answered your question. All right, next question.
Moving on to the next question from Novita Putri. Good morning, Ma'am Saad. I want to ask you about when we are doing an oral presentation, sometimes we suddenly goes blank in the middle of the presentation. So how to overcome it? Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay, Novita, it's a good question as well. So that's why I encourage you to prepare a reading. You have to prepare a reading notes, a note. You have to prepare note cards so that you can write the notes in the cards. You can have small cards. So if you are not confident, you're afraid that you will go blank in your presentation, maybe if you have visual aids, you put in the card, you write on the card, slide 1, this is what you're going to say. In slide 2, this is what you're going to say briefly. Okay, so this will help you to know what you're going to say next. Okay, so that you will not go blank suddenly. Okay, if you go blank suddenly, maybe you can learn this technique as well. Take your time, take a deep breath. Okay, and then look at your notes again and resume your presentation.
Okay, so the keywords is important. Okay. And next, number 3 from Alvin Andrian. Good morning, Ma'am Sharina Saad. I'm Alvin Andrian Shaputra. I have a question for you. During oral presentation, interact or engage with audience is not a specific requirement, but it's actually a good way in presentation. Then what we have to do to interact and engage with audience during oral presentation? Thank you.
Okay, your question is what we have to do to interact and engage with audience during oral presentation. Okay, I always encourage my students to use a question technique. They can have a question technique. Okay, the question technique, you can use it during your introduction, or maybe in the middle of your presentation, or at the end of the presentation. In that way, you get the audience to be with you, okay, to interact with you. Okay, for example, you have found a certain word in the novel that you have read. Okay, for example, the material that you have read, you have come across the word procrastination. Okay, So perhaps you would like to ask your friend or your audience or your classmates, okay, about procrastination. Okay, don't ask questions like, do you know what procrastination is? That question is boring. Okay, perhaps you can ask them, have you procrastinated on an assignment before? Something that will make them respond to you. Okay, ask a question, create a question that will make them give you an instant response so that they will be interacting with you. Okay, and if you want them to keep engaging with you, you have to show them something interesting, like showing video clips, or maybe to show them simple interesting pictures from the book that you have read. Or maybe one of my students did this. She shared a very interesting dialogue from the book that she has read, from the short story that she has read. Okay, so she shared that dialogue, and then she asked, if your mother said this to you, what would your response be? Okay, so the students gave a very quick response. They would be disappointed, sad, something like that. So that is how you keep them interacting with you and engaging with you. You can apply this during the intro or in the middle of presentation, or perhaps at the end of the presentation. Some of your questions, you may want them to respond to you. Some of the questions, maybe you want them to have this in the mind and keep on thinking about your presentation. Okay, Elvin, I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Randika. What if the cover of the book is good, but the content is not that good? Can we still enjoy it?
Yeah, that's why you need to have this activity that I have informed you just now. You have that before reading, while reading, and also that after reading. Okay, but don't wait until the after reading to discover that the book is actually boring. Okay, so during the before reading itself, you will know whether the book is going to be interesting or not. Okay, because the before reading, you have to look at the title, you have to look at the author. You know, when you look at the author's name, you know instantly, oh, I have heard her name, or I have heard his name. This is a popular author, and she or he has written series of interesting books. So this book must be interesting. So you have to do this, apply this before, while, after, to know whether the content is good or not. But do not wait until the last one, the after reading. Okay, so maybe you can apply this before reading technique so that you will know that the content is good or not good. Okay, you can flip through 1 or 2 pages. You will know instantly whether it is good or not.
Yes, maybe
okay,
we can
Randika,
skim it
I
first.
You,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can apply this.
Maybe Pak Prilla, would you mind to help me?
Yeah, thank you, Bu Karlina. So I would like to guide the questions number 5 until number 8, yeah, Bu Karlina, yeah?
Yes.
All right, okay. The question number 5, it is from Tirza. Well, for your information, that Tirza is one of our brightest students, ma'am. She has 2 questions. I want to ask you about the genre that should be the book we like, but sometimes I'm worried that it is not suitable with my current needs or conversation topic. For instance, I really like fiction story, yet I realize now that I have to start to read reality or non-fiction books, such as self-improvement books, motivational books, etc. And the second question is, can you give a solution if in the middle of the presentation, well, I think question number 2 has been answered, yeah? Because the blankness in the middle of the presentation. Okay, maybe you can answer question number 5 first.
Okay, I will have to look again at the question in order to address to this question. Okay, quite a long question. I want to ask about the genre that should be the book we like, but sometimes I worry that it does not suitable with my current needs or conversation topic. Okay, I really like fiction. I realized I have to start to read reality non-fiction books, such as, okay, all right, okay. So whether it is fiction or non-fiction. Okay, So this question is from Tirza, yeah. So Tirza, I would like to ask you whether what do you actually like? Okay, you like fiction or non-fiction? Okay, if you like fiction, you know that you can present better if you use fiction, choose fiction. If you think that if you present the non-fiction material better, choose the non-fiction. It is not that you a question that you can ask your friend, which book should I choose? Remember my presentation just now, do not ask your friend to choose for you. You cannot ask somebody else to choose for the material that you need to use for your own presentation, because you need to know yourself which is your interest or which will make it easier for you, because you are going to talk about that book. You are going to present about that material. So you need the answer should come from yourself. Okay. For example, like myself. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example. Okay, an example is about myself. Okay. When I was a student like you, I also have this course, extensive reading, during my degree. Okay. And we were asked to choose. And I love novels. Of course, I would choose novels. Of course, I would choose stories. Okay, and then when I moved to another degree, part 3, we were asked to give oral presentation on serious matters, on serious topics, not novels. Okay, and I have to choose what topic that my interest, that will be interesting to talk about. And at that time, I researched what is the most talked about topic at that time. Okay, so at that time in Malaysia, the most talked about topic was about child abuse. So I used that child abuse topic in order to gain more interest about it, because it is at that moment, child abuse was like a very hot, controversial issue in Malaysia. So I chose that topic, and during my presentation, I showed pictures of the first abuse case in Malaysia, the first big abuse case in Malaysia, and yeah, but of course I got A for that presentation. You have to be wise in choosing your material. Perhaps if it is a non-fiction, it must be a very interesting, the most talked about topic, or the topic is it has like a global attention. Everybody in the world, all parts of the world are talking about it. So you might want to choose that. Okay, so that is my suggestion. Okay, I don't know what is your interest. So you have to ask yourself. Okay, you want to have more marks? You want to have more marks? Maybe you want to capture the interest from you want to capture the interest of your audience and also the evaluators. So yeah, you have to be wise in that. Okay, I hope I have answered your question as well.
Yeah, as Madam Sharina Saad said, do not follow the crowd, but what you like. Yeah, that's the answer. Thank you, Tirza. Now can you go to question number 6, Purana, please?
Okay. All right. Question from Khairul Anam. Assalamualaikum, Ma'am Sharina Saad. You've mentioned that reading also increasing our vocabulary options and more synonyms to improve oral fluency. But sometimes I read one story that's thrilling and exciting, so I forgot about the vocabs learning, only focusing on context and also the story. So is the process of improving oral fluency can be automatic by reading as many books or texts as we want and don't really mind the vocabs, or we just highlight the important vocabulary or synonyms that potentially useful, or maybe both? Thank you.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam, Khairul Anam. Okay, your question is very interesting because I know that you like reading, because from your question, it seems that when you enjoy reading, you have forgotten about the vocabulary. Okay, so you don't know what vocab have you learned from this story. Okay, I think from your question, it is like that. You have forgotten about that you also need to learn about vocab. So actually you are doing extensive reading because we are not focusing on the meaning of the words all the time, okay? And normally an extensive reader, people who are already have a good grasp of English, okay? And if they come across and a certain words or some words, a few words that they don't understand, it doesn't matter. I will always advise my student, if you read, okay, and if you come across some words unfamiliar to you, you can just highlight it. You don't have to look at the dictionary just yet. And after you have just finished reading, perhaps you will want to look again at the chapter and look at the words that you have highlighted, and perhaps you want to look up for the meaning of the words. Okay, it is not automatic, but somehow, even if you don't look at the dictionary, you can actually guess the meaning intelligently by reading. Okay, when you read the story, you can actually guess the meaning of the word based on the context of the sentence, based on the context. So it is contextual clues. You have to guess it intelligently. Okay, if you want to know exactly whether your guess is correct, perhaps after you have read the chapter, you may want to look back at the words that you have highlighted. Okay, so maybe you have one or two words that might capture your attention that you are not certain of the meanings. Okay, you have guessed, but you don't know whether you have guessed correctly. You can highlight it and look back at the words. Okay, so that activity can help you actually.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question.
Okay, can we move to question 7?
Yes, this
Yeah.
is the last question. Pak Prilla, you want to read it out?
All right. Okay, I think somehow question number 7 and number 8 are related. Yeah. The first is from Miftahul Huda, and then the second, the 8th question is from Angeline Sirait. Well, Miftahul Huda asked you how to overcome the tendency of saying something like that. Well, because sometimes it is in you. Yeah. Well, I do that sometimes as well. And the second is how to
Yeah, I do that
nervousness.
also.
Yeah. How to overcome nervousness while speaking in front of many people. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, I will answer this. Just a simple answer. Yeah. Okay. Good morning again to now it's not morning. I think it's afternoon. Miftahul Huda. Okay. So these are called feelers. Okay. Sometimes when you are nervous, you'll be doing this. Okay. Sometimes when you are presenting and you are thinking at the same time, you may have this okay. And how to avoid this from happening all the time, because it will be a distraction. Okay, so that's why you need to rehearse your presentation before you actually do the real presentation. Ask your friend to count how many you said. Ask your friend to count how many okay. So for example, the first rehearsal, your is 50 and your is 50. Oh, this is so serious. You may want to reduce it. So the second rehearsal, you try to reduce the number. Okay. So what you need to do, or if you don't have a friend, it doesn't matter. Use your smartphone, record yourself. Okay. When you listen back to your recording, you yourself can count how many and Okay. So from here, you can help yourself to reduce your and this is the technique that I always tell my students to do. And maybe you can apply this technique as well. Okay, right? How many times you do fillers and how you can help yourself to reduce it is by asking your friend to listen to it. The first rehearsal, second rehearsal, the number will decrease with the rehearsals that you do. Okay, I hope I have answered your question as well, Huda.
Yeah, question from Huda and also Angeline Sirait. Okay, thank you, Madam Sharina Saad, for the answer. And now, let's having another quiz that will be
Okay.
The quiz is related to your material, ma'am. So hopefully
really?
that hopefully that the student what is it? enjoy the quiz. Okay, Pak Prilla.
I will not be answering the question.
Okay.
I will not be answering the
You will
question
be
because
in
I'm
a
afraid
top position.
I will be the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
I will be
answer
the
will
winner
be
if I answer the
100%
question.
accurate, yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back with me, the quizman for this today's occasion. So I have set the link for the quiz. Please fill in your type your name there. Once again, use your real name, not your alias or your stage name. Yeah. Okay. And now, please allow me to share my screen. Okay. Still 0 player joining the quiz. Yeah. Come on, let me count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Time is running. I cannot begin the quiz if you do not fill in your name.
I think we are already entered the quizzer.
Really? Okay, wait. So I'm afraid it's a wrong link. Wait.
I think there is a problem. Can you resend the link?
Right. I will resend the link. Yeah. Okay, have you seen the link?
We have to enter the code.
Oh no, wait. Extensive reading quiz 2. Please wait. Yeah. All right. Okay, 23 players, 25, 27, 28, 30 players, 31, 32. Okay, come on. 35, 38, 40. 44, 45. Come on, come on, come on, come on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I will start the quiz. Yeah. Right. Oka Randika is the current best position. Number 1, followed by Pamela Octavia, followed by Andreas Prasetya. Okay, now Safira, now Dewa Bagus, Pamela again. Keep racing, yeah. Yeah, Dewa Bagus is still the champion for now. Okay, he made one mistake. Wow, Randy, your answers are correct. Okay, 2 errors. Well, for your information, the green bar shows that your answers are correct, and the red bar shows that your answers are incorrect. Okay, Bayu Chandra Sukma has finished doing the quiz, and then followed by Alvin and Bagus Randy. Now Apriliana is taking over the first position. Okay, one more question, Apriliana. You will be 100%. Your answer will be 100% accurate. Okay, I think we got the winner here. Let's see if Safira answered also 100% correct. Come on, Andreas Prastia, Andreas Prastia. Okay, right. One. Okay, so here we can see that Andreas Prastia and Apriliana answer the 10 questions correctly. Yeah, I think this is the end of the quiz, and after this, I will show you the questions. Yeah, because Madam Sharina Saad didn't know the questions yet. All right, thank you. Yeah, this is the question. Yeah. Question number 1: what is the guest lecturer's name in this collaborative teaching event? So 90% of the students answer correctly. Question number 2: what is the title of Madam Haja Sharina Saad's talk? Improving oral fluency through extensive reading. Question number 3: what are 3 things you should consider in choosing extensive reading material? 67%. Okay. I think I will end this quiz now. And let's see. Yeah, the champion is Apriliana, the second is Andreas Prasetya, and the third is Safira Alivia. Congratulations. Yeah. Okay, now let's check the questions. Yeah. Okay, number 2, what is the title of Madam Haja Sharina Saad's talk? Improving oral fluency through extensive reading, yeah, not expensive reading. So A is the answer. What are the 3 things you should consider in choosing extensive reading material? D, yeah, the genre, difficulty level of the book, and how interesting the book is. Number 4, looking at the cover of a storybook, what questions should you have in mind to make your reading activity effective? So the correct answer is B. What is the story about? Question number 5, well, it seems the percentage of the correct answer is low, yeah, quite low, 34%. The following is a point in the guideline for oral presentation, except, yeah. Okay. Next, number 6, the outline of your oral presentation should consist of introduction, and then mid-talk and conclusion. And number 7, 73% is quite high. Number 8, 71%. Number 9, wow, this is great, yes, 95%. One of the things you must do before giving a presentation is be fully prepared about the topic. And next, before you give a presentation, you must feel confident about your English, practice your pronunciation, and be fully prepared at the topic. So I think that's it for the quiz, Burara. I will stop sharing my screen. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, to sum up for our today's events is so basically the goal of the extensive reading is to teach a good habits in reading, a good reading habits that fit what the teacher and also the student need right now. In order to do that, it can be integrated into another skills, which is oral fluency in this case. So to be a good speaker, we need to be practice a ton of rehearsal and or repetition. And then to help effective or a good presentation, we can also use a signpost language, or what it's called discourse language.
Discourse
Is that
markers.
true? Okay,
markers.
discourse markers. Okay, or a signpost language. It guides you, or it guides the listener through the presentation. It is a word or phrases that people used to tell the listener what has just happened and what is going to happen next in presentation. Okay, so be selective in choosing the materials, and also by using a keywords will help us to proceed the presentation smoothly. We don't have to provide a lot of information in that. So yeah, it will be reading, not presenting. Okay, so hopefully our materials for today, with the help of Ms. Sharina Saad presentation, it will be benefit for you guys in preparing the final writing report. They are going to do that, ma'am, in this semester. In order to graduate, they have to do some final writing report, and then they have to present that. So hopefully it will be beneficial for you guys. And yeah, I hope we enjoy today's event. Although the committee has already set us the time up to 10:30 actually, but we are exceeds into 11:20. Okay, so we must. We really enjoy your presentation, ma'am. Don't you think so, guys? Okay. All right, ma'am. Do you have any words before we ending this meeting, maybe?
Okay, I would like to thank a special thanks to Pak Prilla and Ibu Karlina, of course, for your great assistance for today's session. Okay, I actually really enjoyed the quizzes prepared by Pak Prilla. It is a good way to start, and it is a good way to end the session as well. And thank you to all students who participated in the session, and thank you for all the questions. Okay, you have asked actually good questions, interesting questions that can help you with your tasks for your presentation later on. And I hope that what I have presented today will help you to deal with your presentation, and I hope that you will do a very great presentation. And my students' language, they will say, I hope, we hope we will do a kebaboom presentation. Kebaboom here means an outstanding presentation. So you have to project yourself, imagine yourself to be that outstanding speaker when you do your presentation to Pak Prilla and Ibu Karlina subject later on. Okay, I also would like to apologize for the technical glitches. Okay, and yeah, I hope that we can meet each other again in the next session. And if you are interested to come to my university, you are always welcome to contact me. Perhaps you would like to have not a virtual tour, but a real tour yourself.
Real tour.
Okay, please welcome to Kedah. Okay, please welcome to
Yeah,
Kedah. I will definitely welcome you to my university. Okay, with that, I would like to thank you. Okay.
Yeah, we will also welcome you when you
Karlina?
visit Malang. Well, yesterday you said to me that
Yeah.
you once visited Malang and you enjoy it. So we are expecting you to come to Malang once again, ma'am. I think the pandemic is almost over.
Yeah, I hope so. I think 2023 and next year will be safer for us to travel overseas. So we do have plans to travel to India for a global learning session. We had projects with global learning projects with India, and we plan to visit the university next year. And perhaps we could also visit Malang somewhere next year, inshallah. And my personal visit to Malang was about many years ago. I really enjoyed, especially the weather. It is very cold there, yeah, Malang. Yeah. And I remember when I woke up at 4 a.m., it is already like 7 a.m. in Malaysia, 4 a.m., 8 a.m. in Malaysia. And I could see that the farmers have started working, and the students already they were walking to school. So much activities have been going on even as early as 4 a.m. And I wish that I could visit Malang again in the near future, inshallah.
Okay, we are looking forward to that, ma'am. Okay, before we end today's meeting, we would also like to photo session. All the participants, would you please turn
this is a must.
on? Yes, turn on your cameras.
This is a mandatory.
Yeah. Okay. Please, all the participants, turn your cameras on, and we would like to take a photo session. Right. Mbak Riri, would you like to help us?
Record it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Wait a minute. Okay, second session. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the last 3, 2, 1. Okay, giving back to Miss Rara. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mbak Riri. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Sharina Saad, for making the time, although it's a public holiday there in Malaysia. Thank you for making up for us, and hopefully we can have another time for you to share another insight. Okay, terima kasih Bu Sharina Saad, and thank you for all the participants for your times, and selamat siang. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hope to
Please
see you all
don't forget to fill
again.
in the attendance for your e-certificate. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.